With all due respect to Sheldon Keefe, that right there is the game that the Toronto Maple Leafs have failed to win in playoffs past. Welcome into the Road to Stanley presented by Bally Sports. Today is Tuesday, April 25th. It's day 10 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's Pete Blackburn. I'm Frank Seravalli of dailyfaceoff.com. Pete, massive, miraculous comeback for the Toronto Maple Leafs in Game 4 in Tampa Bay on Monday night. The question now is, to what degree are the Tampa Bay Lightning cooked, trailing 3-1 in this series?
I'm going to say medium, which is probably lower than most people would expect, but you're not going to catch me dead celebrating a Toronto Maple Leafs series win before they get that fourth one. I mean, we've been here before, right? They lost 3-1 they were up 3-1 to the Canadiens. They blew that series. I mean, the last 5 playoff series that they've lost in the first round have gone the distance. So you got to win 3 to lose in 7. So, that being said, unbelievable win for the Maple Leafs, especially to get that one on the road, especially to come from behind and be on the other side of it. Now, I feel like this group probably has a lot of reason to be believing in themselves, feel like they have a little bit of magic in the room. That being said, I do not expect the Tampa Bay Lightning to roll over and just, go away into the sunset here. This is still a pretty good and a pretty talented group that has been in situations in the playoffs where they've needed to rally. And I would be surprised if this was it for them. And at the very least, the Lightning owe us a palate cleanser for taking away and erasing all the "it was 4-1" memes from the internet and having to make us watch a bunch of extremely happy Toronto Maple Leafs fans after an incredible playoff game. That was very unsettling.
Yeah, it's amazing how the timeline between that 4-1 lead that the Maple Leafs blew 10 years ago to the Boston Bruins in Game 7 almost exactly matched up to Game 4 on Monday night in Tampa. Also, I love the signature moment for Austin Matthews. To me, that was such a huge boost for this Leafs team. To have him take over the game, score 2 goals, and to do it with the swagger that he had. Yeah. It was classic Austin Matthews from the regular season moment that we've yet to see translate over into the Stanley Cup playoffs. That was big for him. That was big for the entire organization. It felt like a generational shift, if that makes any sense, for the Leafs. But while we're talking about the Leafs, we're also not really focusing on just how awful these 2 losses were for the Tampa Bay Lightning. John Cooper said it, you get 4, you should be able to lock it down, especially with Andrei Vasilevskiy in net. The Leafs have tagged Vasilevskiy for 16 goals in the last few games. That's a ton. He leads the league in goals against these playoffs. Not sure I saw that coming. But more importantly, I'm not sure I saw the Lightning gagging on leads late in the third period the way that they have in each of these last 2 games. You said medium. I'm going to say medium well. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are absolutely cooked. And I think the confidence that the Toronto Maple Leafs have now, it's for real. They're believing and they're advancing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're right. I mean, I would not have expected this if you told me the storyline, most goals against, a team coming back 4-1. The obvious answer would have been, okay, the Toronto Maple Leafs are screwed here. And instead, they're the ones kind of flipping the script and now in control.
It's amazing. Stanley Cup playoffs never disappoint. Speaking of that, the Seattle Kraken have not disappointed in just about any fashion in their matchup against the Colorado Avalanche in a series that has now been flipped on its head. Cale Makar facing a disciplinary hearing with the NHL Department of Player Safety on Tuesday for his interference hit on Jared McCann, who is not only the Seattle Kraken leading goal scorer from the regular season by a wide margin, but also their leading point getter. So a significant loss for the Kraken, with McCann expected to be out for Game 5, if not longer, for Seattle. But also, you got no Makar and no Valeri Nichushkin, who left the team for personal reasons, the Avalanche said. Can the Kraken actually pull this off as they're now even 2-2 with the defending champs?
Yeah, I'll say sure, why not? They're a good team, and they're playing to their strengths right now. They can skate with the Avalanche. They're great on the forecheck. They've got a lot of depth. They can roll 4 lines. That being said, they need to win the next 2 games because right now they have the Colorado Avalanche stunned, and I think you need to strike while that team is stunned. I think the longer this series goes, the more chance there is the Colorado Avalanche wake up, and they have the elite star power that the Kraken can't really match. They have a Nathan MacKinnon who is capable of taking over a series, especially if it goes to a Game 7. And if they go to that Game 7, it's at home for the Colorado Avalanche. They have the game-breaking ability. I'm going to take the Avs, especially with that experience, every single time. So I think that the Kraken are in a good spot right now, but they absolutely need to win the next two, especially if Cale Makar is missing the next game.
Yeah, he might be missing the rest of the
Right.
series, honestly. His hit wasn't all that different. In fact, in some ways, I think it's worse than the 3 games that Michael Bunting got for his hit on Eric Chernak, also unsuspecting earlier in these playoffs alone. And this sounds funny to say, taking a Norris Trophy winning defenseman out of the lineup for Makar. I think this is actually worse for the Kraken missing McCann, a team that already, not that they struggle to score, but they lack star power. And so you take the 40-goal scorer out of the lineup at McCann, and I think that hurts them in a much more significant way than a deeper team like Colorado can withstand missing Makar for a chunk of time. They played a bit of time without Makar this season, almost a quarter of the season. They know how to do it. I also feel like in some ways the Avs have sort of let the Kraken, they've toyed with the Kraken a bit. All 4 games, the Kraken have had a 1-0 lead. They've been the better team to start. They've probably been the better team throughout, but the Avs have shown an ability to just kind of turn it on when they need to do just enough to get by. They weren't able to do it in Game 4. The Kraken have life, but I'm going to say, continue to count against the Kraken at your own peril. I'm going to say the Avs still take this series. Pete, give me your Stanley standout.
I'm going to say Jonas Siegenthaler. I just thought it was an awesome moment for him to get the game-winning goal in Game 4 at MSG after being scratched. A mind-blowing scratch in Game 2. I couldn't believe that they took him out of the lineup. It was awesome to see him get the game-winning goal last night on a great shot, joining the rush. His first career playoff goal. I just think that's an awesome moment for Jonas Siegenthaler, who's one of the Devils' better defensemen.
Yeah, he really is. I'm going to go with the guy that's behind him in net, Akira Schmid. What a story he's been. He stopped 57 of 59 shots put on him by the New York Rangers. He wins both games on the road in Madison Square Garden to even this series. He's 22 years old and 2 years ago was playing in the USHL for the Sioux City Musketeers in a junior league in the US. Like, come on. This guy's story and rise has been incredible. The confidence that he's shown going into the net for the New Jersey Devils in a pressure-packed situation to draw even, to me, it shows how bright the future is regardless of whatever happens in the first round for New Jersey. Jack Hughes, all these other young guys that they have, it's been incredible to watch. And Schmid going in the net, not blinking at all for essentially Team Switzerland there in the U.S. What an impact Schmid has made. Pete, as we look to the slate for Tuesday night, the Carolina Hurricanes have a chance to close out the New York Islanders. Do they do it?
I'm going to say that they do it, and I'm going to have a pretty specific prediction. I think the game goes to overtime. I think Ilya Sorokin has a great game, but the Carolina Hurricanes break through and clinch the series on home ice.
All 3 games on the slate on Tuesday night. Check them out on Bally Sports in your local region.